The rain had started before dawn, the kind that soaked through your shoes and into your bones without asking permission. Daniel Carter stood outside the glass tower of Hargrove International, staring up at his own reflection fractured by raindrops. His tie was a little crooked. His resume was folded too many times. And his heart was already bracing itself for disappointment. Inside, the lobby smelled like polished marble and money. Daniel wiped his glasses, straightened his jacket, and reminded himself why he was here. Not for pride. Not for ambition. For Lily. His 8-year-old daughter who had pretended not to notice when he watered down the milk this morning. For the quiet fear in her eyes when the electricity flickered at night. For the promise he had made at her mother's grave, that he would be enough. The interview lasted 12 minutes. 12 minutes to summarize a life of sacrifice, of night shifts and missed meals, of learning accounting textbooks at 2 a.m. while a feverish child slept on his chest. The panel was polite but distant. They smiled when he spoke about efficiency models, nodded when he mentioned his experience, but their eyes drifted. One of them checked the time. Then came the question that cracked everything open: how flexible is your schedule? Daniel hesitated. Just for a second. Long enough. I'm a single father, he said carefully. I can work late when needed, but I have to be home by 6 most evenings. My daughter. The room cooled. They thanked him for his honesty. They said they'd be in touch. They did not ask about Lily. Daniel knew what that meant. He walked out of the building with his shoulders slightly hunched, the way they had learned to fold inward over the years. The rain had turned heavier now, blurring the city into streaks of gray. He didn't look back at the tower. He had learned not to. What Daniel didn't know was that from the top floor, behind a wall of glass and steel, someone had been watching. Eleanor Hargrove, Billionaire CEO, founder, and the woman whose name sat on the building itself, stood frozen in her office. She had not planned to sit in on interviews that day. She rarely did anymore. But something, an impulse she hadn't listened to in years, had told her to stop by. She had heard the question, she had seen the hesitation, and she had recognized it instantly. Not weakness. Love. Where is the man who just left? Eleanor asked sharply. The HR director blinked. Ms. Hargrove? The candidate. Daniel Carter. Where did he go? He didn't pass the interview, the director said carefully. Eleanor didn't respond. She grabbed her coat, her heels already clicking toward the elevator. Ms. Hargrove, cancel my next meeting, she said. I'll be late. Outside, Daniel was halfway down the block when he heard someone calling his name. Daniel. Daniel Carter. He turned, confused, rain plastering his hair to his forehead. Eleanor Hargrove was running toward him. People stared. Cars slowed. The billionaire CEO of one of the largest corporations in the country was sprinting down a wet sidewalk, coat open, expression urgent. I'm sorry, she said breathlessly when she reached him. I need to talk to you. Daniel stared at her, stunned. Did I forget something? You forgot nothing, Eleanor said softly. We did. They went to a small cafe across the street, the kind of place Eleanor would never normally enter. She ordered black coffee. Daniel ordered nothing. You didn't fail that interview, Eleanor said, leaning forward. You were failed by a system that mistakes availability for commitment. Daniel swallowed. With respect, ma'am, I've heard kind words before. I know, she said. So have I. She told him then. About her childhood. About being raised by a single father who worked himself into an early grave trying to prove he was enough. About the night she waited alone at her school recital because a board meeting ran late. About how she had built an empire and still felt like she had failed the only person who mattered. I saw myself in your daughter, Eleanor said quietly. And I saw my father in you. Daniel didn't trust his voice. I don't offer charity, Eleanor continued. I offer opportunity. I want you on my strategy team. Flexible hours. Full benefits. And something else. She slid a card across the table: on-site childcare. Named after my father. It opens next month. Daniel's hand shook. The job changed everything, not overnight. Life didn't suddenly become easy. But it became possible. Daniel still packed lunches and checked homework and sat through Lily's endless stories about school. But now he did it without the constant fear gnawing at his chest. Lily met Eleanor one afternoon, peeking shyly from behind Daniel's leg. "This is the man who taught me what strength really is," Eleanor told her. Lily smiled. "My dad is the strongest person I know." Years later, when Daniel stood on a stage receiving an award for ethical leadership, he told the story not about failure but about someone who chose to run after what mattered, because sometimes the moment that breaks you is the moment someone finally sees you, and sometimes, the greatest success begins when you almost walk away.